Emotions are feelings brought on by circumstances, mood, disposition, and/or relationships. Emotions can change from moment to moment and can range from happiness to sadness, fear to anger, surprise to disgust. What causes emotions and why we experience them has been a topic investigated by scientists and psychologists for ages. In his 1872 book titled The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, Charles Darwin postulated that emotions evolved as an adaptation for survival and reproduction. For example, the emotion of fear, provoked by seeing a wild animal, could ensure survival, while the emotion of love promotes procreation. Modern psychology maintains that not only do emotions allow us to survive and thrive, they also help us to make decisions. Emotions also facilitate social communication, allowing us to understand others and for others to understand us. There are three key elements that lead up to emotional expression. First is the subjective experience. Second is a physiological response to that experience. And third is the behavioral response, or the expression of emotion. Let's take an in-depth look at each of these three elements so we can better understand how emotions affect our lives and how we can better deal with and control our emotions. Subjective experiences are simply the events that take place in our lives. For example, a teacher assigning homework, bumping into someone in a crowded hallway, or rain falling on our way home from work or school. Each of these experiences is neutral until it is interpreted by our minds, assessed based on previous experience, and colored by emotion. The interpretations and emotions we attribute to subjective experiences make us perceive them as positive or negative, and that can affect the second element of emotional expression, the physiological response. A physiological response to an experience is involuntary, though it can be triggered by emotion. It might include such things as sweaty palms, a racing heart, or the rush of blood to the cheeks known as blushing. A physiological response is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system regulates bodily functions such as breathing, heartbeat, and digestion. The autonomic nervous system can be divided up into the sympathetic nervous system, which prepares the body for intense physical activity, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which relaxes the body. A physiological response is produced by hormones. The main hormones of the sympathetic nervous system are adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. Together, these hormones trigger the fight or flight response, which includes, among other things, increased heart rate and blood pressure, tensed muscles, and a rapid rate of breathing. The physiological changes associated with the fight or flight response occur in order to give the body increased strength and speed in preparation for a physical fight or running. Fight or flight is also sometimes referred to as survival mode. Once your body handles the threat, it returns to a normal, relaxed state. That's where the parasympathetic nervous system comes into play. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for putting the body into rest and digest, or relaxation mode. The third and final element of emotional expression is the behavioral response. The behavioral response includes the visible signs of emotion, including facial expressions and body language, for example, smiling, crying, clenching fists, or raising an eyebrow. The behavioral response to an experience can be different depending on the individual. Some people express fear by crying, while others might laugh hysterically. Some people may deal with anger by yelling or punching walls, while others may seclude themselves quietly in their bedroom. Some individuals are very good at controlling the behavioral response to their emotions, while others are not. Physiological response can play into behavioral response depending on how our brain interprets a subjective experience. Bumping into someone in a crowded hallway, to use our previous example, could be perceived as aggressive and trigger angry emotions and the physiological fight or flight response. The resulting behavioral response might include a clenched jaw, a burning glare in the other person's direction, or even a fist fight. The same exact experience of bumping into someone could also be perceived as a benign accident that is brushed off and forgotten without ever triggering the fight or flight response. Monitoring how we interpret subjective experiences can be a powerful way of dealing with emotions before they happen. Striving to see a situation from another person's point of view can help us gain perspective, consider the feelings of others, and not take things too personally. Practice emotional perception by learning to recognize the emotions you are feeling. Identifying your emotions is not always easy, but like anything, you will get better with practice. Sometimes paying attention to your physiological response can help cue you into your emotions. Once you can name the emotion, try to figure out exactly what happened to make you feel that way. Practice ownership of your emotions. Understand that other people do not have the power to make you feel anger, frustration, sadness, or any other emotion. Your emotions come from inside you and are the result of your interpretations of neutral experiences. Acknowledging that emotions originate from within empowers you to take control of them. Once you have identified your feelings, you can choose the best path for expressing them. Be aware that controlling your emotions does not mean bottling them up inside. Controlling your emotions means that you let people around you know what you are experiencing in a way that is not hurtful to yourself or others. In some cases, that might mean taking a deep breath and talking it out calmly. Other times, you might write your feelings in a letter, story, or even a poem or song. Drawing, painting, playing music, or dancing are also good emotional outlets. Sometimes it's a good idea to blow off steam by jogging, hiking, lifting weights, or engaging in some other form of exercise before attempting to express your emotions. Physical exertion can give you time to process emotions so you don't lose control. Thinking before you act is an important step in not letting your emotions get the best of you. Sometimes, especially when experiencing strong emotions like anger, it can be difficult to think before you act. In those cases, taking a few deep breaths can help to clear your mind before deciding what to do. Strong emotions like stress, fear, anger, and surprise can be difficult to control because they activate the fight or flight response in our bodies. These emotions can cause the release of adrenaline, norepinephrine, and cortisol. Blood pressure goes up, the heart beats faster, the breath quickens, and sweat glands start working overtime. Your body can only stand these physiological changes for short periods of time. After the threat has passed, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over, and the body returns to a normal, relaxed state. Chronic stress occurs when a person experiences too much stress on a regular basis and constantly keeps the body in that fight or flight mode. Chronic stress can cause the body to become exhausted and can present itself in serious physical and psychological symptoms such as headaches, backaches, upset stomach, diarrhea, insomnia, anxiety, depression, and even eating disorders. Common sources of stress for teenagers include schoolwork, relationships, personal development, sex, and loneliness. In order to avoid the overproduction of stress hormones that keep our bodies in fight or flight mode, it's important to learn how to activate the parasympathetic nervous system and relax. True relaxation does not come from artificial means such as drugs, alcohol, or tobacco. These substances only temporarily mask the stress. Certain activities have long-lasting effects to relax the mind and body, for example, meditation, deep breathing, yoga, or Tai Chi. You could also spend time in nature or with friends and family to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Taking good care of your body by eating well, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep can also reduce stress. Thinking positively and letting go of worries is another way to shift away from negative feelings. Making goals for yourself and coming up with a plan to achieve those goals while focusing on your accomplishments can relieve the stress of what still needs to be done. Sometimes, regardless of taking all these steps, stress and negative feelings can be so overwhelming that you just can't seem to shake them. If this is the case, it is important to seek help from a trustworthy adult. Parents, teachers, coaches, and school guidance counselors are all examples of adults that can help when emotions become too difficult to bear on your own. Therapists and psychologists are trained to share ideas and strategies for overcoming tough emotions and helping you to feel better. Everyone feels emotions. Emotions are normal, yet they are not always easy to manage. What is most important is recognizing the emotions you are experiencing and acknowledging them. Reducing your stress levels and keeping your body healthy can also help you better manage your emotions so that in tense situations you can keep your cool. It will take practice, and everyone has moments when their emotions get the best of them. The important thing is to keep working at it. Remember, you may not always be able to control the experiences you have or your body's physiological response to them, but you are always responsible for your own behavior and how you express emotion.